thank you very much again
Good.
for joining us. The happy employee coach, Nneka Jethro Irube. Did I get that pronunciation right?
It's fine. It's usually, I was told that it is Iwobe, that the R is actually pronounced as W. That's what I was told when I got married. So yeah.
You were told.
Yes, so I
So
was
I must get it
educated.
right, because you see that thing that Shakespeare said,
Iwobe.
what is in a name? So
Yeah,
Mrs.
Iwobe.
Nneka
It's a W.
Jethro
Jethro Iwobe.
Iwobe.
Yes.
Amazing.
Yes.
All right, thank you very much for joining us on Career Moment here at Strategic Outsourcing Limited, SOL Media. So just a very, very brief summary. So what we do here, we're trying to, connect young school leavers, job seekers with jobs that they love, helping them with the right information, helping them with content, helping them to just be the best versions of themselves. Basically what we're about. But before I forget, I told myself I wasn't going to forget. Before we go deep into the conversation, I want to wish you a happy birthday celebration.
Thank you. Awesome. Thank you so much. Yes. Thank you.
So I think it was big 40 for you, right?
Yes, so the big 40.
So let me take you back there. How did that feel for you, waking up that morning? That one word, how did that morning feel for you, seeing all that you've accomplished in your career, with family, and also in purpose?
Grateful. I felt very grateful. I think that's just it. So I started a countdown to the day, and all along it was just gratitude. And one of the other things it did for me was open my eyes to what you just said, which is what I've achieved. I have never lived from a place of, oh, you've achieved this or you want to achieve that. Never. But this birthday, it did a number on me, because people kept on saying, you've done this, you've done. In fact, a senior friend said to me, it feels like you've lived a century. And I'm like, how? What have I done? I don't feel that way at all. So I think it brought me into a place of heightened awareness and just gratitude. I think I was just overwhelmingly grateful. Just grateful that I'm able to help people, I'm able to impact people, and I'm not going to get emotional. Yeah, let's go. I'm going to try my best. But
I'm already getting emotional here, listening to you.
Yeah, honestly, it got me very, I'm just grateful. Grateful. That's it, really.
I had to start from purpose, because, if you've noticed, because LinkedIn does not keep secrets. So I have spent a good amount of time just looking at your profile alone. It's so huge. I know that some people go to LinkedIn and they feel overwhelmed, but for me, it has suddenly become more like an inspiration for me when I see people who are doing great things in different levels of their career, seeing what you've been able to do, especially with purpose. Now, which brings me to the happy employee coach. Speaking of that, it's one thing for you to teach something. It's another thing for you to really believe something, but to build an entire brand around happiness as an employee, I would say there are two contradictory statements, because especially in a country like Nigeria, grappling with frustration, dissatisfaction at work, the list is endless. Global Happiness Report came out. Nigeria was, I think recently in March, we are about 102nd on the list out of 143 countries. Last year, 2023, we were 95th. Only God knows what we're going to be in 2025. But permit me to use these words, because I don't know how else to put it. How and where did you get the guts to brand happiness employees side by side?
Yeah, so you've asked a very important question, for lack of a better word. A question that is core to what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And core to the next season of my life, right? And you are spot on when you say the guts to put happiness and employees side by side. That's the first thing many people do, right? They are like, happy, employee, how? Those two don't go together. And I'm on assignment and I'm on a mission. I've made it my mission to show people that you can be happy as an employee.
Yeah.
And that's keeping it simple. But if we begin to unpack it, it's the fact that families are being affected because people are tired of being employees. and people are living their lives like there's one eureka moment when I'll finally break free of these shackles of being an employee. Unfortunately, or fortunately, how you want to look at it, there's a World Bank study that tells us as of 2022, 7 in 10 adults are still in traditional employment. So that tells me that a good percentage of us are going to live our lives as employees. So are we going to be miserable every single day and transfer that miserableness to our children, which is my second bigger passion, right? And so if you ask me the story of how I came about this, it started from a place of wanting to just tell people that you don't need to be frustrated as an employee. Instead, actually, from being reported in the office. I was reported. So before COVID, I was working hybrid already, because I had walked up to my bosses and said, I can't keep this commute from Amu Odofin, where I live, to the island. Maybe I should resign and become a contract staff because I like the job, right? And they said, no, you can't. And I asked to work hybrid. Literally, it wasn't called hybrid. There was no name for it. I mean, it wasn't existing at the time. So I was like, to work from home on some days, and it was granted. Now, what happened was that my team members and some of my peers were upset about it, and an employee experience engagement survey pointed that it was an issue. At this time, I was already a manager, so I was managing teams, and it came out clearly that people were upset. They didn't like, and in fact, the way it was painted was I wasn't working, but I was getting rewarded for not working because I was working from home. Now I laugh in retrospect, but my mom says to me now that all those people that were shouting and talking that you're not working, should be working from home now, they can see how hard it is to work from home, how the days don't end, right? So, but back to the story. When that report came out, it was a big red flag for my managers, so for my bosses, I'm a performance manager, and so we sat down and said, what are you going to do? Your team needs to be able to work with you in this arrangement. First of all, the arrangement was pulled back. I could no longer work that freely from home. This was just before COVID. So COVID now struck, and everybody was now stuck at home. What then happened before COVID was I had to have one-on-one meetings with my team members. I'm trying to understand what was going on. And overwhelmingly, the feedback was, you are choosing and picking when you come to the office. Is what you tell the boss that they will agree. Nobody else will talk to the boss and they will agree. And then it became clear to me that many employees are at work not knowing that they have a voice. People are showing up at work feeling like they are suffering for somebody else to make money. People are showing up at work not realizing that it's a two-way street. It's not just your employer that's supposed to get a benefit from this transaction, from this contract. It's meant to be two ways. But meant to be benefiting. You have a voice. And that's where this started from. I started teaching my team members how I engage my bosses to ask for stuff, how I communicate my value, how I, as we say in Nigerian parlance, loud my greatness, and how it helps me to win. How I remind my bosses of the great work that I'm doing. That's where this started from in 2021. And here we are today. And the name Happy Employee was not something I wanted to take, to be honest. At this time on Instagram, everybody was calling themselves a coach, and I didn't want to be called a coach, to be honest. In fact, it's just an appellation. There is more to this than being a coach for me, right? Because it is a mission to help people know that you don't have to go to work every day frustrated. You have a voice. So when I put the name Happy Employee Coach, it catches people's attention. And if it's 7 out of 10 from a World Bank study, it means in Nigeria it's 9 out of 10 of us are employees.
I mean, if not 10 over 10.
Yes. So I am passionate about helping adults understand you should not be frustrated at work. You can speak to your manager, you have a voice, and you can build wealth as an employee. Yeah.
I mean, that's something, a lot to unpack from what you said. But let me take you back to the statement earlier that has formed kind of the crux of all that you've talked about, that World Bank report, talking that some people, no matter how we want to call it, how we want to say it, some people will still be employees. Not everybody can be an entrepreneur. Not everybody can be a business owner. and some people will still be employees. Now, like I like to call it, I think there are maybe 3 stages to an employee's journey. First of all, there's that search, that uncertainty, looking for a job and all of that. Then there is that time when you are on the job, things that you want to start learning. And then there's that period between trying to transition or all of that, or get a better job, because we have people who are employed, we have people who are currently unsatisfied, but they are also employed. Now, at the crux of happiness, which is something that you're very passionate about, is, especially in Nigeria, the frustration and all of that is finding a job. That job search strategy, a lot of Nigerians grapple with it, how to get a job, land a job that they love. And you've had a vast wealth of experience as an HR professional with KPMG. What are your top strategies, or what are the things that you likely look out for, especially in young graduates now, in job searching?
So I'll answer this question from 2 perspectives. From the person searching for the job, right? And from the person who is hiring. For you searching for a job, you have to understand that you are the value. You didn't spend all these years in school, and you are not smart, and you are not good enough. So let us start from there. I have been in interviews where I had to tell the people that more than you want this job, we need you to pass the interview so that we can end the search, literally. So I want you to, as you're listening to me, understand that you are the value and that you are genius. And the company needs you to go to the next level. That's number 1. Number 2 is start adding value to those around you. And here's what I mean. Volunteering. Those things become content for your interviews. Those times you volunteer, whether it's in church, whether it's in the mosque, whether it's in your community. I have a young boy who had to work with my husband to coordinate elections in the estate. That experience, you can't take it away from him. He project managed. Be intentional about adding value to those around you. There's an elder one, you can be in their house to coordinate their house. There is church you can be in. There's a fellowship you can be part of. There is the mosque you can be part of. There is your old school association you can coordinate. Volunteer in these places. Work with somebody. It will get you prepared. Even beyond the interview to excelling at the job. There are people that have started working in my team, and as they start, I can already tell that this person has put certain skills to use before they came to this job, even as a fresh graduate. All right? So those are the first 2 things I would say. So as someone who wants to hire, right, I look out for people who have energy. And by energy, I mean you understand, right, that you are coming here to work and create value. And it is in the things that you have done that you can tell us a story of how you have added value in the past. All right? You must. So even the funny thing, this question you've asked, even for people who have experience, they don't know how to convert their knowledge of years, their stories, the things they have done to demonstrate that they are great. I give you an example. I had an executive who was going in for a coach. When I mean someone with like 17 plus years experience. And the person wanted to change careers, right? Going from HR to a more commercial type role. And the person was in a headspace where they were saying, would they give me this job? I've not done commercial work before. I had to sit with the person and understand where they were coming from in life. And I said, no, in this area, you sold things when you were in secondary school. You already been doing commercial.
So that's experience now, putting that into a story.
Yes. So we are not even self-aware enough of our greatness as people. And when I talk to people about interviewing, which I rarely do, right, because of time, I don't have that much time. But when I do that, they're almost like, Neka, thank you that I had this call with you. I didn't know that. I'm like, yes. I want you to understand that you are the value, right? So when I'm talking to you, I want to hear those stories that demonstrate that you know what you're about. Right? I want you to tell me that there's eagerness to learn. You've shown me how you've evolved, because in today's world, the speed to learn and adapt is a critical soft skill that everybody needs to have. And it's very simple. How do you get it? Start trying out new things. A new app comes out, try it out. If you master the art and if you master the place of presenting yourself as someone that wants to try out new things, you are in a better headspace to win at interviews.
Yeah.
Because you have tried out different things and you're able to master the skill of change and learning. And that is a critical skill set in today's world.
Absolutely.
Right. So those are the things I would say.
Thank you very much. I'm going to speak two things: confidence and learning. Those are lifelong skills. Someone once told me that life in itself is something called UniLearn, University of Learning. One thing that you said there, so there's no learning experience, no experience at all should go to waste. Someone who's looking for a job, no experience at all. But where do you draw the line? Because now talking about that, you see some people's CVs, they have all the experiences, everything that they've done on their CV. Is that too much?
I would say that realize that there are many people that are competing for the attention of this HR person that's looking through your CV. The important stuff, make it punchy, first page, right? When you come into an interview, you can then unpack them based on what they ask you. But based on the role being required, put your achievements and the things that speak to what you have done in the first page. Based on the role, definitely based on the role.
So if
another thing I've tried to do with one or two people is be creative with your CV. So there's someone I've worked with that I went as far as, let's use Canva to design your CV. So you may not be a graphic artist or graphic designer that you say, oh, you want to put your portfolio and all of those things, but with just a regular HR CV, and we used Canva, and it was a game changer. The CV became the topic of discussion. Right? So, yeah.
I'm laughing because I want to stay on that for a bit. So this new tracking system, the automated tracking system, it's like a new way now of recruiting, especially for HR professionals and CV reading and all of that. There's been talks that when using an ATS or when you're doing your CV now, you have to be minimal because of the ATS might, things like color, might not want to read things like color, your CV can be lost in transit with a lot of others if it's too, complicated of some sort, and then the ATS can't read it. So where do you draw the line? Because I'm hearing this story, beautiful CV, Canva design. Where do you place that vis-a-vis the ATS?
So I would say that it depends on where you are in your career. At some point in your career, you're not going to be doing ATS, whatever, right? Early on, keep it to a page or two, but punchy. All right. Now, I'm not familiar with the ATS thing. I've never used it myself for hiring, right? But I would say that keep it punchy. Look at the job description and put words from the job description in that first page. Okay? Put words from, don't just throw them around. Weave them into the story. Your CV is a story. Everything we're doing in life is a storytelling experience. So don't just take the words and use the words to demonstrate. But in that first page is what I would say. In that first page, basically there. Yeah. But as you rise, honestly, your CV is less going to go through the ATS thing. It's going to be more like, oh, people are searching you out. Then you don't have the liberty and the breadth to play around with the design and how you present yourself. Yeah.
Amazing. Now we've talked about strategies, confidence building, CVs and all of that, but there's a new, I wouldn't even say a new kid in the block. It's been around for the longest time. In fact, I've even made reference to it during the course of this interview. LinkedIn. Now, we've heard talks that LinkedIn can get you faster, that networking experience gets you, because these days you hear things like your CV might not even be enough. You need to network, you need to strategize, you need to meet people and all of that. And I can say that LinkedIn is one of those platforms that helps you to network. And these days we even see people getting jobs via recommendations away from CVs. So what's the place of LinkedIn, especially for a young school leaver or someone who's looking for a job? What's the place of maximizing LinkedIn, and how do you leverage LinkedIn in your job search journey?
LinkedIn is beautiful. Let's just start from there. LinkedIn is beautiful. And the world generally has moved away from just relying on CVs traveling to giving you a platform to tell a story about yourself, right? What are you passionate about? And what you're passionate about does not have to be about something on the job. It can be anything, right? And LinkedIn provides you the opportunity to tell your story. So I would say that nobody in this year going forward should joke with LinkedIn. But what I would also say is pace yourself. You said something when we started this conversation, where you go on the page and on my page and you've checked and you choose for it to inspire, not intimidate. We all need to be careful about that. I see people say things like, oh, I come on LinkedIn and I see pam, 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 congratulations, I have closed 25 deals, 25 six-figure deals in 2 months. I think you need to say to yourself, who are you following? I'm very big on sanitizing my social media timeline, right? Because I take it as a source of inspiration and education. It's a source of inspiration and education. So I'm very intentional about what I watch, who I read from. And when I'm reading from you, I'm asking myself, what can I learn in the way you have written something, in the way you have shown up? As a young person, there are things that you enjoy doing. It can even be basketball. It can even be football. It can be chess. It can be anything that you're passionate about. Tell yourself that once a week, I would write about something that I'm passionate about. And as you grow in mastery, I find that these days, my posts are more fun to read. The hooks are stronger. And I am like, if I never started writing on LinkedIn, I wouldn't have gotten here.
You wouldn't have gotten
Doesn't matter
there.
how great my 16 years experience is. Doesn't matter how great it doesn't matter until you put rubber to the road. Until you start, there is no way you're going to build mastery. So don't be intimidated. Start with saying, even when I coach people who come into my one-on-one coaching, I say to them, once a week, share with us 3 lessons you learned this week. Call it Saturday bites, call it Monday motivation, anything you want to call it. Start with once a week, 3 things I have learned. So as a young person, don't come up thinking that you don't have anything to share. Please drop that mindset. You do have something to share. You do have something. And trust me, if you stay faithful with once a week, jobs will chase you, opportunities will chase you. I promise you, because they said world over, only 2% of LinkedIn users create content every week. Only 2%.
Only 2%.
In Nigeria, I'm sure we are 0.0. I don't even know. Right? In Nigeria, I'm very sure. If all over the world,
just 2%.
Only 2%
I mean, that's
content
alarming,
weekly. Then you will stand out very quickly. I promise you, if you commit to creating content once a week. It can be a passion. It can even be, in church this weekend, I learned XXXXX. It can be, in my estate, I saw 1, 2, 3, 4, and I saw this. On my way to work, right? It can be my job search experience. And just chronicling about interviews you've gone for. Trust me. I say to young people, not just young people, everybody. In Nigeria, we tend to be passive consumers on social media, not active contributors. Please, anybody listening to this, help me. It's a mission I have. Let's shift from just being passive contributors, where we're just scrolling. Passively, we're just consuming. Which day will we read your own? Which day will we learn from you? Let me stop there.
Thank you very much. It's a lot, but for time. But let's just keep it to this. We talked about the job search process now. Now let's talk about what you do when you are on the job. You talked about things like standing out. And it's also something you're also very, very passionate about, going through the profile, helping employees thrive in their role. That's all about what the Happy Employee Code stands for. But then in your role now, you've gotten the job. How do you be a top talent in that company that cannot be ignored? Which I know is something you're also very passionate about as well.
Yes, I am very passionate about it. I think the first thing that many of us forget is the word. and I say this especially when I'm speaking in Christian communities, but just in general, is the fact that God looks at the heart, man looks at the outward. Because many of us sit and say, oh, my work will speak for itself. Why do you then have a voice? Why are you waiting for your work to speak for itself? You've got to be intentional about announcing the great work that you do. And I give a very basic example. I use and illustrate when I'm talking to people. I say to them that you've worked a late night, you've worked a weekend. Who knows how much effort it took you to deliver that piece of work? Only you. You're not going to get recognized and valued and rewarded for it. And when I mean reward, I don't necessarily mean a monetary reward, but at least an acknowledgement that you give a sacrifice to deliver that piece of work. One of the things you can do, formally or informally, inside gist, you go to work on Monday. Omo, can't wait to sleep. Oh. I didn't sleep well this weekend because I had to turn out this piece of work. Whether it's acknowledged or not verbally, you've registered that this work that you guys got, it took blood and sweat for it to come out. It can be as simple as you do that piece of work, you make sure you send it on a Sunday so that everybody gets the sense that you actually had to work on a Sunday to deliver that piece of work. Right? So you must be intentional about the story you're telling and how much work you're doing. Many people don't remember this. For example, another mistake people make is they assume that their bosses know how much work it took them to deliver. Your boss does not remember because it's been years since they were at that level. They're not thinking about the work the way you are thinking about it. They've moved on and they've grown. It's up to you to tell us the story of how hard you are working to deliver that piece of work. You must be intentional about that. You must be intentional about telling the story of how much work you are doing. All right? I say to people that you must know the work. That's number one. Your boss needs to know that you know the work. And your boss needs to know that you know the work. Number one, you know the work. So if I wake you up at any time in the night, you're able to tell me a story of the work you're doing. You're able to explain to me the details of what you're doing. Then you need to also communicate to those you report to in a way that they understand your mastery. If all the artists that we talk about, Shakespeare was only writing the books and not getting published, nobody's going to acknowledge him for the amount of greatness that he is. Then you need to sit into the knowledge that you are a master at this thing and show up like that. When your boss or your bosses or your managers understand and know that you know the work, trust me, it elevates your value to the next level. It presents you as more valuable. It amps your visibility at work and accelerates the rewards that you get. Remember, the reward is beyond salary. Sometimes there's opportunities for training program. Sometimes there's opportunities to be on a panel in the office that further elevate your visibility. Those things are also forms of reward as well.
So much again that you said there. Know the work and also communicate to your bosses that you indeed know the work. I have to stay on communication here. You talked about this earlier when you were saying that at some point you had to speak up to your managers and tell them that, you know what, I want to work from home at this particular time. Even at the time when people were not working from home, there was nothing being known as a hybrid worker, but you had the guts and the confidence to do that, which brings me now to communication, right? So one thing that we see, especially in offices, is that timid nature of employees, not knowing that they are also bringing something of value to the table. So we sometimes shy away and we're timid. We can't speak for ourselves in conferences and meetings, but you were able to do that. So this brings me to key stakeholder engagement. What or how do employees properly communicate their values, especially to key stakeholders, their bosses, their line managers, team leads, and all of that? Is there a mechanism, is there a process to doing this?
I think the first thing is, for me, is understanding and accepting the fact of why you were hired. When I speak to people about why they are hired, I say to them that the reason you're hired is to help your boss succeed. You were hired to help your boss succeed. If you show up at work with the mindset that says you were hired to help your boss succeed, it will drive how you show up to engage with them. If you know that you were hired to help this person to do well, then you'll be intentional in how you communicate with them. You will not be overly angry about how they are relating with you. So for example, this happened to me. I was speaking somewhere and someone with about 15 years experience said to me, Neka, I just got a new manager. a new boss, and I didn't understand that I have to listen to how they like to communicate. So I was using the way I communicated with my former manager, which is the person who likes written communication via emails. But this person will want me to, I will send an person will be like, come and meet me, or call me and say, come and have a conversation with me. And I'm like, but I've already told you this thing in an email. And she just realized in listening to me that, oh, this person prefers conversations. Why am I making life difficult for myself? Just go and have the conversation. So if you understand that you were hired to help this person to succeed, it will help you and seek engagement with them. You won't just sit back where you are and be angry. Oh, they're asking too many questions. Oh, I don't send this thing before. Why don't they talk like this? No. You show up differently because you know you were hired to help them to succeed. It affects how you show up, how you ask questions, how you pursue feedback as well. It affects all of that. So that's how I'll answer that question. So you be intentional about how you tell them the value you are bringing to the table. You are intentional about understanding what their priorities are, because priorities can change from time to time more. So somebody gives you a piece of work and they bring another one, you're now angry. No, you don't do that. You ask them, okay, I'm still working on this other one though. How should I handle this one that you brought now? Which one is more important? Because you are coming from a mindset that says, I am hired to help this person to
succeed. Amazing. Thank you very much. Which brings me to the other part. Now, we talked about the search on the job. Now, let's talk about that post-job experience. Now, this brings me to a very interesting part of this conversation, which I'm sure you'll be happy to talk about yourself. It's about job hopping. So interestingly, let me give you a bit of background to this. So a report was recently released by Indeed. Let me see if I can get hold of that report real quick. Okay, I think it's here. Now, it was an article and it said that job hopping may be the ultimate career hack for millennials and Zoomers trying to climb the corporate ladder. Now, this also takes me to Gen Zs, because another report by Resume Lab said that 83% of Gen Z employees consider themselves job hoppers. Right. Now, the subject of job hopping is something that has been talked about. People say no manner of things, especially HR professionals, that there's this school of thought that you should only leave a place until you're at a particular stage in your career, 1 year, 2 years. Sometimes they say if you have too much hopping around, 6 months, you might be a threat maybe to your would-be organization, right? And interestingly, you've had such an interesting career at KPMG over, I don't know how many years now, 16 years.
16 years.
Right?
Yes, 16 years.
Yes, and more. I want to hear your thoughts on job hopping. What do you think about job hopping?
So, this matter of job hopping, I agree that in today's world, okay, in fact, even in my own world, to be honest, sometimes it's when you move that you will grow. When I talk to HR professionals, especially I tell people that in the banking sector in Nigeria, for example, if you don't move, you are not going to rise for the most part. So you come in as ET in this bank, you stay 18 months, you move to ABO in the other bank, you stay another 18 months, you move to BO in the other bank, another 18 months, 2 years, you come back to the first bank as SBO. Those you left as ET may still be ABOs only, assistant banking officers, right? But you have moved around. So the truth is, people would move around because they want to advance their careers. The rate at which where the economy is today as well doesn't help. I'd like to say that if all your career decisions are driven by the need to earn more, you may not be able to build as much mastery as somebody who stays longer in a particular place. Don't stay long enough in a place, and I will call long enough 3 to 5 years in a place. You may not build as much mastery, right, in that place, sufficient enough to experience the breadth of it, to leverage that experience to gain more differently. Now, if you are within the industry, for example, in a bank, and you are credit officer as an example, literally this is the same thing that you are going to do anyways as you move around. So maybe it may not apply. So if you are within industry, it may not apply, right? But if you are in a particular career path, it may be helpful to stay at least 3 years in a place before you move. But I would not deny the fact that as you move, salary tends to rise quickly and faster. That I can't deny. I have experience in it. I've seen personal experience of people in it. that, of course, by moving, they have been able to, over the years, in a 10-year period, comparing them to somebody who has stayed in a place, they've been able to double their salary over that same period. I have seen that. But I would like to say, I think 6 months is too short. I think a year is too short. I would say between 3 to 5 years is what I would give as a personal opinion before you move.
You've stayed in your role for over 16 years, and you've enjoyed fulfillment there, grown there. From there, you found purpose, the happy employee coach, done different things. I know that you've authored 3 or 4 books now talking about the employees. You've been able to still find fulfillment. What would you say is that difference for you?
So I think that people need to understand that when you stay long in a place, there's certain advantages that you get. You become a master at the skills required to win. You become a master at relationships. You've invested in people, right? People have seen you. So you're able to get away with certain things. Do you understand? You're able to have a bit of leeway and lax because people have seen you demonstrate value. You have credits, is the way I would say it. You have built credit. So you're able to draw from that credit when you need to draw from that credit. And it makes a world of difference. That's the honest truth. People feel like you have been here and you've taken roots. So it's easier for you to fruit and create results. When you go into a new place, it takes you time to take roots and begin to create results. That's the truth. But the longer you are in a place, you're able to take roots deeper and it's easier for you to create results very quickly. That I have taken advantage of. I have built skills. I have relationships that I put that I feel obligated to, and I feel obligated to me as well. So that one I won't deny. It exists and I'm able to mine it. Do you understand?
Yeah.
It exists and I'm able to mine it. So I would like to encourage anyone. So for me, not like I've not attempted to move. I have attempted to move at different points in my career.
If you've ever felt the need to move at some point.
Yes, I have. 2 things have happened. I've either gotten to the final stage and didn't succeed. They took somebody else, right? Or they gave me an offer and I'm like, I'm not sure I want to move now. No, I'm not sure it's a good time to move. I have been to an interview where they asked me, funny question, what's your highest achievements? And guess what? It was for a HR role. And guess what I said? I said the things I've been able to sell in my current role. As an HR person, you're not coming to a company to sell. But I'm a marketer at my heart. Guess what? This was an interview with a board. I sold them copies of my book and left the interview. I didn't get the job. So at the core of who I am, I've been able to find expression in the job that I do. As someone that is marketing, as someone who likes to meet people, my network is, the people I know, is insane. The rooms I can walk into today, it's insane because I have built it where I work over the years. So trust me, there's advantage in staying in one place, but I'm not going to advocate for it in today's world because again, you need to earn more, you want to grow and all of that. And facts show that those who have moved jobs tend to earn more than those who haven't. But there's also a strong side to staying in one place. There's credit that you build that you're able to draw down on when you need it.
Thank you. And I also have to add that, you found that your current role also gave you that room to stay and to grow, because some people don't have that. They have places where they're toxic, you can't grow. There's so many reasons, there's so many factors that make you do. But thankfully, where you worked also gave you that room to also grow.
Yes,
and to find
there was breadth of opportunity to
stay there.
Yes, 100%.
I have to thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much. It's been an interesting conversation. But just before you go, I would have said for your top 40 since you just clocked 40, but that would be a long time. If we were to say 4 advices that you give people right now who are struggling in their career, probably trying to find a job, in the time that you spent in your 40 years of existence, things that you've learned, tips that you want to share, just top 4 that you share with someone listening. It could be relating to life, it could be relating to careers, it could be just relating to success in general.
Okay, I would say that number 1, success is relative. Having a bias for action is underrated. I came across a quote recently that as far as I'm concerned, I feel like the person went into my life and saw my life and came up with the quote. He says, we don't find ourselves, we create ourselves. As you live every day, listen to the rhythms of life. What is life telling you that you are good at? Sit into it. Your millions, your billions are there. Sit into that thing that life is telling you are good at. I have been told over and over again I'm good at presentation and speaking. I sat into it as an employee.
Yes, you are.
And it is making me money, good money. If I overlooked it and was looking for the latest trending thing to sell, the latest trending thing, the latest trending business, well, I would struggle. On Friday, I had 2 speaking engagements. I was very energized. It's my happy place. So success is relative. Listen to the rhythms of life and sit into those areas that you are good at. Therein lies your millions. Don't be quick to look for the latest thing to jump on, the latest trend, the latest thing to do that will make you money. Your money is in front of you. Your money is never far from you. Never far from you. Another thing I'd like to say to the working woman listening to me is sit into your seasons. Life for a woman, and maybe for a man as well, but let me talk to the working woman, is in seasons. The time when you have someone as a single person, maximize it. When you do get married before the kids come, enjoy those seasons. When the children come, sit into it when they are younger and don't be under pressure to be like somebody else. Accept your seasons for what they are and enjoy them because they will pass and they will evolve, and every season is being productive. Log out of comparison, sit into your seasons and truly enjoy them. Those are the things I would say.
You gave us a lot. I asked for 4, but then you gave us 2 heavy ones that could last a lifetime. Thank you very much again. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
So grateful. The Happy Employee Coach, God bless you for your time and keep doing what you're doing, inspiring people, all around the world with your voice, because you have a very powerful voice, not only in what you say, but also in the depth. There's this thickness, this confidence in your voice. Thank you so much. I would have loved to ask you more questions around
yes,
that area, but for time, thank you so much. Mrs. Nneka Jethro Iwobe. Did I get it now?
We can talk about it another time. We can do this another time.
Please let's do it another time. I'm looking forward to it. And please, just in case someone is listening, how they can
100%. So my name is Nneka Jethro Iwobe. You can connect with me, or you can just search the Happy Employee Coach on LinkedIn. It will come up and then you're able to see me. And I've been told over and over again that my page is a gold mine of value. So do well to do that. You will find extreme value. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your day. All right. Bye.
Thank you, dear. All right. Take care. Bye.
Bye.
All right. Bye.